I'd like to go through a orientation of working with the setup of the database files for operations testing. Okay, from the website, we go to Software Setup. We need to download the template files for the setting up your railroad. These will download. And if we click in the corner, we can show in folder. Right-clicking. I'm using ZipGenius to extract, but any extraction program will work. We're going to extract. This provides us with a setup here, and what we want to do is to work with these files to set up your railroad. In the draft directory, see we have the template for employees, jobs, locations, results, and tests. We'll rename this location file using your railroad designation. And now we'll open this in Microsoft Excel. Okay, so we've opened Microsoft Excel. We'll start a blank workbook just to get things cleaner. And opening, we'll browse for a location, head out to our desktop, and inside the setup, the draft. Now you'll notice that we have nothing that matches here in that directory, and this is because it's looking for Excel. We need to change this to all files so that we can see these files of different types. This is our location file. Open it. So these headings, if we highlight the headings and double click right on the edge, these will be stretched to fit appropriately. So we need to populate these with the rail division, the subdivision, the line, location, type of location, the name, a starting mile point, an ending mile point, and a mile mark being true or false. I'm going to populate these with the Lehigh Valley information. So I've managed to acquire a timetable for the Lehigh Valley. In this timetable, I have mileposts on the left and a description of the locations here. Now I've kind of made this up to a point. Can show you more specifically here the stations and the mileposts and what I've gone through. Some things I've called a yard, some things I've called an industry, kind of artificially. For the Lehigh Valley, they had 3 divisions. Wyoming division went from New York to through Pennsylvania up to Athens, which then switched over to the Buffalo division. So here we have the finished product. In here, the rail division, the Lehigh Valley ran on the Pennsylvania for in the yard in New York till they've got into New Jersey, where they were on their own system. The rail line here is their main line, and then I interject branch lines in here as we went along. The type that we use is either that it is a yard, a track, I use IN for industry, XG for crossing, and so forth. Start milepost and end mileposts are important to be populated. However, when the mile mark is false, we don't use those values for recording a milepost. Here, this track from New York to Hunter starts at milepost 0.5, ends at 11.5, and is true, so we will use the mile marks along that line. The location ID, I'm going to delete here. The location ID is an arbitrary number that the program uses to sort through the data and present it to the operator. So we need to populate these. Again, they're arbitrary. I leave a space in between the numbering so that there is some room if I want to add a location in between later. If you get it started, so Excel knows that I want to go up by 5s, highlight these and carefully double click in the corner. It will populate the data, this entire row, all the way to the end. Now we want to save this. It's currently as a text file, so I want to perform a save as and change the designation to comma delimited. I'll update this to 3 just so that we've got something a little different that we can work with. Okay, from here we'll go back and now we need to edit and test and check this in the CSV Editor. So from the website, you can download the CSV Editor. It takes you to their site, and I use the download with installer. Single click, and this will bring the CSV Editor in for you to use. Opening the CSV Editor, we now want to bring in the CSV file that we had modified. I find the locations file. It's in the history directory. I received an error because the file was still open. So I need to close it out of Excel. Trying again, file open. So that's an error that you may find if you try to edit a file that's open in 2 different areas. So here you can modify these columns, slide things around so that you can read things a little better and so on. So I'm compressing these a bit so that I can see what I've got to work with. It's important that we don't have any additional columns. There's no column 10 over here. That would cause us an error in the program. So if we scroll down through our rail, we can see that all of the fields are populated. This represents a neat database in our activity. If we double click on a particular item, it will bring up an edit form. You'll want to apply automatic here. Using this approach, we can use the green arrows to step through each of our lines, and doing it in this fashion, we can also see that all the lines are populated. We can use this format for making a change. For example, if we had spelled something wrong. And that will then automatically be saved. You can build your entire file here, but it's more convenient to work in Excel and then bring it over and check in the CSV method. From this point forward, it's this program we'll use to add additional lines. Editing is relatively straightforward, although you do click around a bit to find things. For example, here's column editing where it can select rows, and editing can be accomplished by using the tabs down below to make changes globally, to save, and so on, filter, modify. We don't use very much of this capability. Once I've verified that the database is neatly full, I perform a save as. I want to save this in the draft directory. You Because once I've populated the draft directory with all the files necessary, I'll test it in the draft directory, and if functioning properly, I'll shift those files to the operational directory. So these are our locations files, and I've now saved those. Checking. In my draft directory, now got the locations files, and we're set. It will take some time to put this locations directory together. You'll need to make some decisions as to how you're going to define the types. The program expects to see YD for yard, TR for track, and IN for industry. But you can use additional designations if you'd like to have, for example, office, OF for office, or BR for bridge, etc., depending on how you want to sort the data when you're done. Other decisions that you need to make are whether or not that you're going to be using mile marks to determine the locations. All this information is sorted and filtered as we go through and run the application. If you need assistance putting your locations file together, contact us and we can help. Thank you.